They get to see the guy behind and like, what? That's him? Okay. So first question, Evina.
Yes.
First of all, thank you. I got to speak to the camera now in the morning for taking the time out. The Moms That Lift project. I appreciate you. Highlighting those that are within the industry. Obviously, we're in your gym. You see it in the background. Located in Chatsworth, right outside of Los Angeles. It's considered LA, right?
Yeah, we're still considered Los Angeles County, and we pay the Los Angeles tax, so yes.
LA. Got it.
You love it, though.
All right, first question is, hi. Introduce yourself, even though I just said it, but just so that it flows well.
For sure.
Hi, my name is, and you introduce. And Moms That Lift are blank, and you fill in that blank.
Ooh. That's my first question?
That's the first one, right out the gate.
That's a spotlight right there. Wow. Okay. Hi, my name is Evina Del Pizzo, and moms who lift are resilient.
Nice. Why that word?
Because there has to be some sense of resiliency to be able to set aside time for yourself, even if it's 5 minutes. Because being a mom is on all day. And so there has to be some kind of resiliency of just battling all the different battles all day, especially like the grief of not being a good enough mother.
Yeah. So
setting aside those 5 minutes is resilience. Setting aside those 10 minutes for yourself is resilience. Because at least for myself, I had to battle the chronic guilt trips that I was giving myself. No one else was. I was giving myself to just step away from my daughter for 5 minutes, especially as a new mom.
Absolutely.
So that's where I feel like, I mean, I can never fight a war. I can never do any of that. But there's some kind of emotional connection that is completely biological. It's hard to battle. In order to step away from our little ones, it's not easy.
Absolutely.
The older our children get, the easier it is, but then there's harder aspects in other areas.
Absolutely. New challenges arise.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I like that. Great choice of words. You had to expound on that. Resiliency and resilient is one of my favorite words.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you used that. My next question is, did you choose fitness or did fitness choose you? You can break that up and think about it in any different way.
When I was younger, I think fitness chose me. I was always very active, and not because I wanted to choose to be active. I was active because I grew up in a generation where your mom told you to go outside and play.
Absolutely.
So I had to go outside and play. I had to be creative. I had to run down the streets. I had to ride my bike to my friend's house. I had to, run away from dogs that were loose on the streets in Mecca. And where I grew up, it was, we didn't have a lot of luxuries that other kids had. We were forced to play outside. And then there's other times where it's like, oh no, now it's time to clean the house. Now it's time to stay active. And I would go out on the weekends to go help my mom work. And that was also part of being active, a lot of labor stuff. And so it wasn't by choice. And the older I got, especially when I got introduced to strength training in high school, actually much earlier, I just started doing it just because it was fun. And you just build muscles and you build strength. I had no education, no knowledge around it. But now that I'm older, the luxury of it being a choice is because I get to.
Yeah.
And it's my opportunity that I get to stay healthy and stay in it for the long run. So whether or not it chose me always depends on the timeline of my life. Mm-hmm. But that's where I feel like I can expand on it, is like, depending on where you catch me at, right? So like, especially in Hawaiian Tropic, for me, it wasn't a choice. It was, you had to be a specific look to be on stage. Or when I was a runway model, you had to be a specific look on stage. Now, was it healthy? No.
Yeah.
Not always. Not always. And it wasn't only until maybe the last 15 years that I actually started to understand what health and fitness meant on a true standard versus the diet culture, versus all the other stuff. So back then it was like supplemented to me like, no, you've got to be skinny. You got to look like this to be on a cover of a magazine. You have to look like this. And so fitness was teaching me that I had to look a specific way. Now that I'm older, I recognize that's all wrong.
Yeah.
And I need to just feel right in my skin.
Absolutely.
And I need to feel good. And I don't need to diet. I don't need a 1,200 calorie diet because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm about 2,000 to 3,000 depending on the day. So fitness has definitely evolved on whether or not it's chosen me or if I chose it.
Okay.
Today I choose fitness.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you distinguish between that factor of choosing versus chosen? Like, when did that click for you and you became, maybe it was more conscious rather than subconscious?
Oh man.
There was no script, but
That's a good follow-up question. No, that's a great follow-up question. Yeah. Like I think a big part of it was when I got sober.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sober now for 17 years.
Okay.
And I needed something to calm the noise down.
Mm-hmm.
When I got sober, there was a lot of deficiencies emotionally, physically, spiritually that I was battling.
Right.
And I had a lot of my own personal demons. When I got sober, I found myself at LA Fitness here in Northridge, just hitting the bags and trying to lift weights and trying to get strong and trying to do what I can. But a lot of it was more because I was doing it almost out of spite.
Mm.
And I knew that, but after every session, I knew that I felt better.
Yeah.
And so I just kept coming back because I felt better. It was no longer a drink or a drug that could fix my problems. It was, this is something that sparks something inside of me that makes me feel good, that isn't self-medicating what I used to do.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the consciousness of understanding like, oh no, this is good for me. This is what I need to do. But the science of what I studied didn't happen until years later.
Mm.
That's a different aspect.
Yeah.
The longevity didn't kick in until I started getting into bodybuilding.
Mm.
Because being in pageants or fashion shows, it was a completely different mindset. Now that I'm in the bodybuilding world, it's very much like, no, you can still eat and look good.
Yeah.
Because my whole life I was told you can't.
Yeah.
And now there's a whole different language behind food. And then the more I was around different mentorship, the more I was around different competitors, athletes, trainers, physical therapists, my world started to become more evolutionary. Like I started to realize, I'm like, there's more to life than just lifting and eating.
Absolutely.
There's more to life than dieting. Now I can actually be existing in my skin comfortably.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I hope that kind of answered your question.
No, it did. It did. That was a good segue and spinoff. But that leads me into, how do you balance staying fit and being a mom?
There is absolutely no balance. I don't care what anybody say. I'm going to look that camera straight in the face and say there is no balance. and it's funny because I just competed in the NPC Grand Prix and took second.
Congrats.
What people don't know is there's like 1 or 2 people in my class and I'm the first loser. Like that's how I feel, right? There wasn't a large enough amount of competitors. And that's the truth behind competing.
Right.
I'm going to be the one that's going to tell you that. Everybody else can say, oh yeah, I won second.
Yeah.
And then just not talk about the competition. But what else were the judges supposed to pick from? Right?
Absolutely.
And that's the truth. But when it comes to finding that balance, getting back on stage, trying to find the balance now that I'm a mom has been incredibly challenging.
Mm.
If I can lift a solid 3 times a week, I'm stoked. Right? Because that's what it takes to build some muscle. But the amount of muscle it requires for me to go on stage, it takes a significant commitment. And there were weeks that I had 5 times.
Yeah.
There were weeks that I had 2. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
I think I missed a week or 2. Either way, the thing that I do consistently is I don't look at my week, regardless of how good or bad it is, and say, I should have done better.
Yeah.
I try not to keep my mindset there because if I'm there, I will spiral out of control.
Yeah, stay there.
And if there's anything I've learned It's just being consistent. It's just trying to show up, even if it's for 5 minutes a day. That's it. Really. That's how it would work out.
I'm learning that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What was your fitness routine prior to being a mom?
I was definitely lifting a lot more. I was definitely pushing myself a lot more. I would find other opportunities to compete in. I even started dabbling. Actually, my last athletic competition was a triathlon sprint, and it was held in India. This was a week before COVID happened. And what happened is, that was my first triathlon I ever did, and I really wanted to do a second one. And my friend and I had other opportunities that we really wanted to go for and compete in other triathlons. And what happened was, since COVID shut down, everything turned off. But I was training all the time.
Yeah.
I was running the hills back here. I would go to the gym. I'd swim maybe, a mile or two. And then I would jump on the spin bike and just ride for 16 miles, just trying to build the conditioning and get myself strong and just eating. So before I was a mom, I was really competitive. Now trying to find that timeline of resting my body because I have a toddler to chase around. And then trying to get exercise in, it's completely different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you what is it now, but you kind of answered that.
I can go into detail.
But I was instead of asking it that way, is what are some things that you're seeking to improve it now?
So the things that I want to improve in now in my health and fitness is to get back to the strength levels that I used to be.
Okay.
There's no aesthetic will come, and I trust that process because now that I understand nutrition much better and I work directly with my coach, I'm not worried about the aesthetics because the aesthetics come. I really just want to build strength and not hurt myself. That, and especially now that I'm 41, I'm finding it harder to recover, especially now that I have a toddler, not sleeping through the night, and going through these phases in our life and in our development. So I'm trying to figure out and optimize my recovery. I'm trying to optimize how hard I can push myself, but in a safe manner, because my back is out. There's different things that have changed since my body has had a baby. Absolutely. And it's just completely different. So I'm trying to recognize that, respect it, but also still get into my best self that I've ever have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not on script as my phone's not open, but because you do own your own gym, do you find that to help you along the journey of managing being a mother and fitness, or do you find that more of a challenge?
Absolutely not. I think people who own gym, first of all, let me say this. When I come to the gym, it is work. It is like what I look at when I come to the gym is I'm like, here's the baseboards that need to be cleaned. I got to wipe this down. Look at all the dust up there. Oh my gosh. Like I need to vacuum. Why is there all this white stuff here? Like I need to fix that hole in the wall over here. And it's just a constant to-do list because I'm so worried about the vision of the gym for people, especially for new customers. I want it to be attractive for them.
Absolutely.
Right? Like I know I have to do some drywall work. Like there's so many things that I have to do. That's overwhelmingly. And that's not including the administrative work. Mm-hmm. That's not including the member connection, the customer acquisitions, and dealing with those things on the back end. Will I? Yes. Is it hard? Absolutely. Because I won't prioritize myself. Mm-hmm. I'll prioritize the nature of being in the gym. Does it help because it's part of my job and my body is my business card? Absolutely. But it's very difficult. Sometimes I'll just jump in and work out with a class. That's how I try to stay motivated, and it helps keep the members here motivated as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. What do you hope your child, future children, if y'all decide, get from seeing you remain active as a mother?
I want her to have complete autonomy over her body.
Okay.
So that nobody else will. I have a daughter. And what I have found, that I've been blessed with 3 older brothers, if it wasn't for the wrestling, the fighting, the messing around, the going to, self-defense courses and classes and all the martial arts that I did when I was a kid, and my mom keeping me active. And I watched my mom go through this too. If it wasn't for that, being able to say no, or being able to have a body autonomy, or be comfortable in my skin whenever I walk somewhere, whether it's in a gym, especially being, it's still a very male dominated world, or anywhere else, I want to be able to have control over my body. That's I want her to learn that. And with her learning that will teach her how to have that power and be comfortable, not be influenced by social media, Instagram, or whatever evolves when she becomes a teenager. I don't want her to be influenced by that, because what they see online is not real life. Right. Between you and I, we're sitting here, we are a part of the industry, but we know that these people have families, these people have lives, these people have mothers, fathers, they are mothers and fathers, doesn't matter. They were eventually children one day.
Absolutely.
And now, as an adult, how is everything else influencing us? And that's what I'm hoping she will see me as, is being okay with who herself is. That's what I took from my mom.
Yeah, perfect. That goes right into my next question. Does modern beauty standards influence your workouts?
There's always going to be a subconscious, like, man, I wish I could have been like this. Mm-hmm. But it's not even the modern beauty standards. It's what I used to look like. Because I've been in front of a camera since I've been 11. Yeah. And I know my best self. I know what I used to look like. And sometimes that can get into my head. But for me, the modern beauty standards don't apply to me, because I think they're also evolving. I think a lot of those looks that you see online can change, Sometimes it's more curvy, and I definitely don't fit that bill. Sometimes it's, shorter, taller. I don't know. I'm 5'10". I am 130 pounds, sometimes 140, depending on time of the year. Yeah. And no matter what, the only time my body was ever in a modern beauty standard was back in the 90s and early 2000s. Other than that, no matter where I went, I was never it never felt comfortable in my skin. Just, really? Yeah. I have my family's Hispanic, so I am not built like them. Yeah. It's just I just look very different, except for my mom, my dad and my grandmother. They're very much built like me. But other than that, everybody's very short, stocky. Yeah.
Okay. As a gym owner, do you see a lot of the, we're talking about moms, but women in general, do you see them influenced by the modern beauty standards?
I do. And it's really heartbreaking. I don't know how touchy this topic is going to be for people, because you're about to know what I'm about to talk about. I see on so many different levels people taking extreme measures to lose weight. Mm-hmm. And it's incredibly frustrating, because I've been there. And maybe not to the extent of being heavy, but I've struggled with my own eating disorders when I was younger. Full transparency. Mm-hmm. And when I work with clients, I've had clients on both ends of the spectrum, mm-hmm. especially women. And those women on both ends of the spectrum, regardless of if they're really big or really small, have one thing in common. They have been both told that they should hate themselves. And it makes me so angry, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if you're being influenced by something that tells you should not like yourself, why don't we band together and stop allowing these standards to continuously happen? Absolutely. Regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on. Absolutely. It does not matter.
Absolutely.
Right? I've been thin my whole life. I've been told I'm too skinny. I should eat a burger. Random people I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I've seen my friends who are thicker who are like, oh my God, you should not be wearing that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? If I had that, I'd be getting, no, I would be putting people out of their job. Like God has told me, you are not allowed to have this body type for a reason. because I'm going to be shameful. This is why I'm skinny, because God's like, nope, girl, you cannot. Like, okay, fine. But yes, I see it all the time with my clients, and it breaks my heart constantly, especially moms.
Yeah.
Because after you have a baby, you have to rush to have the perfect body right now.
Absolutely.
And what's frustrating about that, your uterus does not heal for at least 8 months. I don't care if they say, 8 weeks. 8 weeks. You have a hole on the inside of your uterus that's like this big, and it's chronically bleeding. Like, imagine if there was a gunshot wound right here. We'd be like, oh my gosh, we need to patch that up. Do you really think it's going to take 6 weeks for that little thing to go like this? No, not at all. Not at all. That's why you see women who have chronic bleeding issues and all these other issues, like, and they're forcing themselves to go work out, then causing more issues.
More issues, yeah.
Not necessarily helping it out. So it's really frustrating, especially when I see moms try to fight back or bounce back to their baby body. I think recently somebody had passed away because they were undergoing some like mommy makeover.
Oh, okay.
And that's really heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Great point. What message would you give to yourself at the beginning of your fitness journey?
I have it in my mind. I want to be intellectual about it. There's a lot of perceived opportunities that look like opportunities that are actually distractions. And it was tough to navigate that because I did a lot of things on my own.
Yeah.
I did a lot of things by myself. And not only that, what I should have done, because at the end of the day, my goal back then was to become an IFBB pro. What I should have done is literally shut the noise off and only focus on several things. Was I really committed to a lot of the things I did? Absolutely. I was 100% committed. But were there distractions in places that I didn't know there were distractions? I thought they were either opportunities, or I thought I was doing the right thing, right? And at the end of the day, I should have just stayed focused and stayed the course and not deviate from that. Yeah. I should have been more mindful about what I was doing in all my affairs and really just bring everything down to laser focus and focus harder. Yeah. Because I truly feel that although this may look like a great success, having a brick and mortar and having a business and writing for magazines and doing all these things, I feel like I could have taken it to another level. What that level is, I have no idea. Yeah. But for me, hindsight, and let me tell you something, having children makes you see the world so differently.
Absolutely.
I don't care who you talk to. I think that's why moms feel so guilty, because they know there's more in them. Yeah. They know there's more in the tank.
Absolutely. And
they know they could have more to do and give and have done. They could have realized their power more after they have children. Women don't realize their power until after they have children. At least that was my experience.
I can understand that.
Right? Like,
and you would think it's self-explanatory because you can create life. Like nobody else can do that.
No.
Like, you can birth and grow a human being.
100%.
You can do anything then. You can do that.
Right. And regardless of how labor goes, the fact that this thing is alive and in your hands and looking at you, for you to depend on it, your job is to now take care of it for the rest of its life. Well, hopefully not for the rest of its life. I can't.
18, 21, 25, Illinois.
18? Get out! No, I'm just kidding. But then you realize, you're like, oh, wow. Not only that, like, my job is to now make the best version of this human.
Absolutely.
As best I can. How come I'm not that person? Like,
absolutely.
That retrospection and reflection is mind-boggling. It's just crazy. I don't know how to explain it, but the best explanation I have is, like, when you have children, there's more in the tank.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Okay. I like that.
I want to touch on this. I don't know if this is part of this. For example, I have friends I talk to. One friend doesn't have any children, but she's in the space of dating, and everybody's heart is hard. I'm not discrediting that at all. But I'm looking at the things that she would worry about when I would worry about them from her eyes. And I'm realizing, like, oh my God, you're wasting your time. Like, I now can see, looking at people in the space that they're in, respectively, and looking at myself kind of like a mirror, right? Like I'm looking at this girl, single, young, and struggling with whatever she's struggling with. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, why are you spinning your wheels around this?
Right.
Why are you worried about this? This is not a big deal, right? Like, you know, a boyfriend or whatever. It's like, this is not a big deal. The bigger issue is, what can you do to be successful for yourself, or how do you lay expectations? Like, I don't know. Now I see younger generations in a different light, because I'm like, I've been there.
Absolutely.
I get it.
That wisdom.
Yeah, that's right.
How can dads help mom along their fitness journey?
Just take the baby. Get the kids out of this house. Give me a second. No,
you joke, but that it really could be that easy. Just that space and that time.
Honestly, it really is like run defense, right? Just run defense for me, right? And another thing too, here, this is gonna sound crazy, okay? Not only do I want you to run defense on my toddler, right? Do me a favor and pick up the sweater that you left, that you took off of her when you guys came in the house. Like those little things, because the mental load of being like, oh, and now I got to pick this up. Oh, then that dish is left there. Oh, that and that. Yeah. Like, not only does taking the baby help with allowing us some time and space to be able to work out, but if you are able to take that load off of that mental load, hey, I got the baby, I'm going to do the dishes, and I'm going to start cooking something for lunch and get you a snack, make you a protein shake for after your workout. Absolutely. In an ideal world, that would be awesome. I need somebody to be a teammate and to take steps, or to think steps ahead.
Absolutely.
Before I have to think about it. Because as moms, we're chronically thinking ahead. Not only, it's not just as easy for us to just come home and like just put our stuff down and walk to the kitchen and grab a snack, right? And no shade on my husband. He is a phenomenal husband. There's a lot of communication, because the men don't think that way. And that's okay. Absolutely. That's okay. You're in the military. Mm-hmm. Your job is to go fight wars and to take care of us as a whole. Yeah. Mad respect to that. I have no doubt about that. And I guarantee that your mental load as a father is probably incredibly challenging. So all you want to do is come home and relax.
Absolutely.
As a mom who works 12 hours a day, 8 to 12 hours a day, the expectation is for me to come home, cook dinner, get the kids ready for bed, do the kids' homework, clean their dishes if they have snacks from, if they have a lunch pail, right? Make sure they put their dirty clothes in the hamper, because I don't want them all over the house, right? And make sure they get all that playtime out. Make sure they get enough snacks, because I don't know about your kids. The second I come home, my mom's like, the second I come home, my daughter's like, Mom, I want a snack. And I'm like, let me put down my bags. And I can't tell.
Use the bathroom first.
Let me go. Yes. Thank you. I haven't gotten feet all day because I've been too busy running amok. That's why before we started, I'm like, can I go to the bathroom real quick? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Trust me.
I literally just got done teaching 2 classes and having a personal training client. That is 3 hours of not going to the bathroom. Yeah. I'm like, I have a mom bladder. Give me a second. Right? And so with dads for generations and traditionally, when the woman would stay home, the dad would come home after a long day of work. Food is ready, doesn't have to think about it. The kids are nurtured and natured, right? They're loved, they're taken care of, they're fed. All he has to do is be the good guy.
Absolutely.
But today's age, there is very rarely a traditional household. Yeah. Now it's mom and dad both taking on opportunities at work to bring in income, because there's no way we can live in this inflated country. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
So The language behind parenting is no longer like, you take care of this, I take care of this. Now it's, listen, I'm going to tag team you. I need you to go do this. Yeah. I'm going to go do this because I need a break.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, that's what it has to come down to, is thorough and really intuitive conversations around how to run a household.
Absolutely.
Don't just expect the mom after a 12-hour day, 8-hour day to do all this work for you.
Yeah.
It would be nice if I can come home after an 8-hour day, 12-hour day, and be like, dinner's ready? Hi, honey. Give her a kiss and then expect tail out of her. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's not what we live in today. Yeah. We don't live there anymore. So we have to have these conversations around, our generation's not there anymore. Yeah. We're unless the man wants to take the load, glad, please.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'd be happy for that. And then I'll take care of the household, which is it's not easy either. Mm-hmm. But at least there's more of a balance. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think we're in a weird time because there's so much tradition that a lot of us that are of our age that we grew up on, but we're also consumed of the new age. And maybe what we saw before we didn't like, we're in the opportunity, or we're given the opportunity to kind of change it to how we want it to look. But there's still some of that tradition. So it's like a weird period, like the mingling of the two. And where you're searching for it to be perfect, but you're finding a conflict between the two, right? Maybe what you saw growing up, either good or bad. And then of the times of today, like it could be a rough time without communication.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I always tell people our generation is a generation that had therapy, is very retrospective and reflective. Yeah. We have conversations now, regardless of differences and changes, absolutely. Right? And this is no shade on the older generations, but they're still very closed-minded. Like, this is the way and the only way. Yeah. Right? Where now it's like, no, this is not how it works anymore. Yeah. There's so much science behind how, like, there's literally, when I had Vivian, I didn't have to go to my mom and ask her about breastfeeding, because that woman only breastfed us for 6 months. And she's like, all right, you're going to daycare. Yeah. Because she had to go to work. And there was, and I asked her, I'm like, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around, how do you raise more than one child? Yeah. I don't get it. This is hard. Yeah. And my mom raised 4. Like, you said, sign me up again. That's crazy.
Willingly.
Willingly. Like, oh, I'm pregnant. Oh, okay, let's just smoke a cigarette and just do it wildly. Like, now there's so much science behind how we do things. Like, I didn't ask my mom about breastfeeding. I didn't ask that generation because they didn't take the time to breastfeed or long-term breastfeed. They were told the things you have to do. Yeah. After 6 months, just give them formula. It's fine. That generation was taught to detach from their children early and quickly so they can go back to work.
Absolutely.
What kind of damage has that done emotionally long-term?
Absolutely. We're the recipients of it, though.
100%. 100%. And you see it in our generation. I have lost friends because of fentanyl overdoses, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, because that's how they're learning how to deal with their trauma. Absolutely. And they did not get the resources they need.
Absolutely.
Because of generational trauma.
Absolutely.
So now we know that this language is a thing, and now we're taking and saying, no, we're not going to raise our kids this way. I'm going to breastfeed up to 18 months or 5 years, because there's still a lot of science that supports that there's antibodies in the breast milk.
Absolutely.
Or I'm not going to spank my children, because there's also some...
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah. I'm not going to spank my children. I was switched. I have a mom from the South.
Switch, belt.
Yep. All of it.
They get their hands on.
All of it. Wooden spoon, broom.
A body.
A chancla. It didn't matter. Dale putazos. Like, just all the time. Yeah. And that's just how it was. Now, it's hard because from where we grew up, I don't know if you struggle with this as a parent, but when we grew up, now it's like, how do we suppress that same response because that's how I want to respond.
Yeah.
Right. And now let's put that at the back end. We're literally changing generations after us.
We are. Absolutely.
I don't understand. Like that should be mind blowing to all of us.
Yeah.
How we're doing that.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. And we're the most pivotal because we were in the middle of both. And where we were coming up, we went through the traditional route, but we were also the first to be introduced to the new wave. And now we're the adults of the new wave. And we have the understanding of, we kind of understand where the kids are coming from today, but we can also understand and relate to our parents
100%.
And our grandparents and those that come before. So we are at conflict with ourselves sometimes because maybe we don't even know. Like you said, the discipline factor, like I was raised with the iron fist.
For sure, same.
I have an iron fist, but I've had the privilege to gain the communication skills to be able to maneuver through circumstances without always using the iron fist. And sometimes it's just a voice, and understanding the power of what I say and how I say it is enough, and I don't have to put hands on it. But my parents didn't have that. Mm-hmm. There was no sit down, let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. It's a do as I say and not as I do. But we are in that middle ground, and me and my wife, we talk about it all the time. It's a conflict because internally, you wanna go with the new wave, but you've been guided by one way for so long. Whether you're good or bad from it, but it's definitely a challenge.
Face. I do respect tradition. I still very much think that it is important to especially maintain culture.
Absolutely.
Regardless of where you come from, right? Like I still go back to my old neighborhood that I grew up in because I remember and I reflect and I get it. And I see that there's still a lot of traditional values that withhold the home.
Absolutely.
In terms of like a lot of the community I grew up in, they still go to church every Sunday. There's still gatherings. Yep. There's still community. Yep. Like there's a lot of value in traditions because they bring together community.
Absolutely.
How many times have you gone to like, I don't know, besides being a photographer, how many times do you go to like a traditional baby shower or something that's you've been invited to, or you know what I mean? Like the community aspect of tradition is very valuable and very important.
Absolutely.
So there's something to be said because that's where you are able to pass down stories from generations to generation.
Absolutely.
That's the coolest part. When I go to my elders, I love hearing the stories.
Love it.
That's what you guys used to do? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Y'all got away with that? No cell phones or nothing? Yes. Like crazy.
Yes. Such a great time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know we're going off track.
No, that was perfect. That went down a way that wraps it all up because you're going to say Happy Mother's Day to the cameras. And then you're going to give all the moms out there that get the opportunity to view this one more inspirational reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Okay. I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And remember that you are not alone. Regardless of the load that you carry, it doesn't get lighter, but you get stronger. And as long as you just keep putting on your shoes, stepping up, and the most important thing, ask for help, even when it hurts. I think it's okay to be vulnerable, even if you don't want to. It's okay to share your heart with people that you can find and trust. Don't be scared to, and just put yourself out there. But the most important thing, and I'm going to end with this, is to love your child no matter what. That child is your priority. That child loves you, and you are going to be a direct reflection on, or that child's going to be a direct reflection on how you treat them. I will probably get some bad feedback on that, but I do feel that that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% agree. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day, moms. Thank you again, my friend, for taking the time out to work on the Moms That Lift project. So do all those things and get up, get out, move, and continue to birth the world. Might catch some slack for that, but it's exactly what happens with moms. And change the world, because mothers are the reason why things are great. And they can also be the reason why things are terrible, because they can drop that iron fist and put everybody in their place.
That's right.
Moms make everything go and stop. So moms are the end all be all. Happy Mother's Day. Be safe. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you. High five it out. Yeah. Love it.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Was it?
That was phenomenal.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I hope you got the information that you wanted. And
absolutely. I just wanted you to talk.
Yeah.
I didn't even care what you said. I did care. I do care what you say. But